Best in sports debate and up-to-the-minute information and statistics. Sports Wrap, every Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. 2 exciting hours of pure exciting sports talk. The experts are in the house. Sports Wrap, every Thursday evening, only on the big station, only on Q95. Lock it in.
Good night to all listeners of Sports Wrap, all the fans and friends of Sports Wrap. We have a very packed program for you tonight. With me in studio is Dr. Thompson Fontaine, and online is Emmanuel Loblack. Dr. Thompson Fontaine.
Yes, good afternoon or good evening to all of Sports Wrap fans across the globe. It's good to be back again for yet another edition of Sports Wrap.
Likewise, myself, I would like to say hello to all our fans, home and abroad, wherever you are.
All right. The first item, we've got a packed program for you tonight. The first item we want to discuss very briefly is the marina in Portsmouth. This is a development that we're looking at in Portsmouth. It's a belated development. After 23 years, we see such a development in Portsmouth. If there was a situation where we still had the Ross University in Portsmouth, a university hospital, and the marina, Portsmouth would be bubbling. However, we've lost Ross. We don't have a university hospital. And we started the marina after 23 years. There's some concerns about the marina in terms of the development. But before I go on to there, the first point I want to re-emphasize is the need for an integrated development plan. We see a lot of things happening in isolation. The International Airport project, after 2 decades, with no analysis, no designs. At the same time, we're extending Melville Hall. The geothermal project has been going on for a while. We're going to start off, we did groundbreaking for a marina. And we hear some talk about a cruise village and a cargo port after 2 decades. What is really happening? And overall, we see low productivity in the economy. The entity that's involved in developing the marina was involved in developing the Kempinski Hotel. Who owns Kempinski at this point in time? The name has been changed from Kempinski to Intercontinental. The amount spent there was $195 million in getting it going. Before one person walked into the hotel, the partners walk away with $30 million before any activity in the hotel. And on top of that, our ambassador Zampoli or Zandoli in New York claimed a 5% because he said he was the deal maker. Can you imagine your ambassador, Dominica's ambassador in New York, is taking range development to court because he claimed that he put the deal together and he needs to get his 5% of the 30 million US dollars. We have nothing else on this particular matter. So it seems to me that Zandoli was paid his 5%. Who else was involved in that deal? With this current project, range development, what is range development experience in developing marinas? There are technical considerations. We're not too sure about that. Who is going to own the marina project when it's completed? And are there any persons going to benefit from deals on that marina project? It's very, very questionable. And people need to come out and clear that for us, clear that situation with the marina. Mr. Fontaine.
Ron, certainly, I'm with you on that. I'm with you in terms of your general comments. I mean, obviously, we're happy for such a development in Portsmouth. I remember a few years ago talking to Mr. Ian Douglas, and we had a discussion with the PAL rep and the head of the town council there. And when they asked me what are my views on Portsmouth, I said, the number one thing that, as a government we would do in Portsmouth is to have a marina in place. So I understand the importance of a marina. But at the same time, you raise some very pertinent issues. We have been told that it's been funded by proceeds from the CBI program. And the question is, does that marina belong to the government of Dominica and the people of Dominica, or does it go to whoever it's developing? Because we've seen a pattern. We saw it with Kempinski, and where the project is used, CBI proceeds are used to build the project, but it does not belong to the people of Dominica. And this is wrong-headed. We think that is something that we have to change. If you're going to be using the resources of the state for any project, it should belong to the people of Dominica. And so that is one of the biggest concerns that I have, in terms of the ownership, in terms of, as you said, who is benefiting out of this. And, clearly some issues were raised in terms of the ecology of the whole thing, whether or not we are encroaching on certain areas that may be maybe harmful for the species in that area and so on. Any type of project like that, we would hope would have benefited, or there would have been some type of EIA, an environmental impact assessment to determine suitability for that particular location. Because Portsmouth is a very scenic place. It seems to me to be a natural place for such a project, but those issues certainly have to be looked at. So while I welcome a marina, and I hope it happens, I'm not sure when building is going to start. We've seen groundbreaking before, and where nothing materializes. I hope that's not the case in this one, that we do in fact get something in this area, because we need some type of economic activity in the Portsmouth area, given the loss of Ross University. There needs to be something to take its place, and that seems to me to be a good fit. But whether or not it will materialize, whether or not the ownership will go to the people of Dominica, I think these are questions that needs to be answered.
Mr. LeBlanc.
Let's move on. I concur with you, Ale. Let's move on to the next topic.
Okay. What we want to lobby this particular current issue, we just want to close it up, and we, Dr. Fontaine and myself, are trained in economics. I'm going to say economic activity. However, technical considerations have to be brought into the whole analysis as to exactly where you're doing it and the impact on the environment. So it's a very good initiative for the Portsmouth area, and it was long overdue, because when you look at the harbor in Portsmouth area there, the Prince Rupert Bay, you see so many yachts are packed out there, and there's not the service to ensure that the people contribute to development of Dominica. Another area that would need a marina is in the Newtown area. When you look in the Newtown area, you see how many yachts packed out there. How can we facilitate those yachts to come to spend money in Dominica, to buy goods and services, to take tours, to go to the restaurants, and to get activity going in Dominica. The underlying factor, I think, is an integrated development plan. How do we plan? How do we program and plan to incorporate those type of activities in our economic development? We will move on now to some areas, some specific areas where we've got some sporting areas. But what we try to do in this program is to always deal with some current activities, some current issues at the beginning of the program. So we move on now to other programs. But Lobi, before we get our next person on, would like to invite you, Lobi, to give us some information on tennis and the Diamond League.
Well, yes, thank you, Lander. We also, before the tennis, last week, we had the conclusion of the English League, which we didn't talk on. And Saturday again, this weekend there, you had a shocker. You had Man United shocking Man City in the FA Cup, but, an FA Cup. Nobody expected Man United to win, but they won 2-1. And the league itself was a very tight one. At the end, it was between Arsenal and Man City in the Premier League, and Man City prevailed. With the French Open, that Roland Garros, that Nadal had his exit. He played, he was exited, he lost. And I think he should call it a day.
Is he partly injured, Lobi? Is he partly injured?
I don't think so. I think, let's just look, man. Look, there's the rise and fall of sportsmen. And a lot of the young guns you have gunners now, guys in the 20s, and they're playing very well. All right, he had his heyday. He said he's looking forward for the Olympic Games to represent Spain. So we don't know if Nadal will call it a day. If I don't know if it's after the Wimbledon or the US Open. But Nadal is a fighter, as you know. He's a fighter. But he went down. Now,
Any other top stars on the challenge? Any other top stars on the challenge?
Well, I think the number one is still there. Djokovic is still there. Alcaraz is still there. Sinner, a lot of the players are still around. It's still early, but there was an early, a close upset in the women. The number one, Swiatek. I think she was lucky to have beaten Osaka. That's the best game I've seen Osaka played since her return. Since she's been playing. She lost. The first set was a tiebreaker where Swiatek won 7-6. The second set, Osaka stunned her 6-1. And in the first set, Swiatek prevailed 7-5. But I think what I saw of Osaka, I think, she's still young. She's still young. I think I'm looking forward to her in the future. The women,
Manu, yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that particular game because, Swiatek has for the past, even a year or so, has seemed on, that she cannot be beaten. She's been dominating the world of women's tennis. And yet she came so close and so very early. And not only that, but the clays, that's her specialty. She's supposed to be unbeatable on clay. And yet we saw that, she came on some serious fire in that game.
Yeah, I think, that the women, yet still, even, there are some, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, it's going to be interesting. Into the second round, it's going to be very, very interesting. But I'm looking at Djokovic, whether he will prevail champion. Because the young legs, I can tell you, Lander and Fountain, these guys are playing very well.
They've played 10, top 20, they're playing very well. Has not been at his very best. He got in the Italian Grand Prix. He kind of went out very, very early, I think in the second round, and he's not been playing top tennis. But, knowing his character, I'm sure he'll, and of course, the French Open is almost the creme de la creme after the US Open. I think the French Open is probably the most, in terms of the ranking. I think the French Open is right there, and players like Djokovic generally step up in these big competitions. So I would expect that he would really come good, and he's certainly somebody that is hard to beat on clay as well. So it will be interesting to see.
But
Lobi,
again,
as
functional-
we go on, as the league develops, we will spend a little bit more time in discussing various aspects of the league. At a later stage, Lobi, I want you to focus on the Diamond League and FIAL4. We've got
yes,
Donnie Robinson on the line right now. We've got Donnie Robinson on the line, so let's go to the line to deal with Donnie Robinson and basketball.
on the
And
DBA
one of the
league.
favorite area, the NBA. But we'll deal first with the local league, and then we'll move to the NBA. Donnie Robinson, good night, my brother.
Hey, good night, gentlemen, and thanks for having me again. Good night, good night.
Well done, he's sung in low.
All right, let me try to fix that a bit.
The voice a bit, not a stronger voice.
Is that better?
Yes,
Yes, much
better.
better.
Donnie. Much better. So in the first instance, give us a summary of what's happening in the local league. And I want you to speak about some of the outstanding players, and then we'll go to the NBA.
Yeah, so last week we had some interesting movements in the league. We still have a couple of the young teams. Like I mentioned before, we have a really, really impressive team from the West Coast called West Coast Ballers that are unbeaten in Zone B in the Division 1. It's the second year in the league, very young, talented team. And it's coached by the only female coach we have in the league, and she's doing a very good job with the young guys from the West Coast. They are 4-0 in a league where they maybe have one more game to play in the zone. So they're looking like they will qualify for the second for the leg of the playoffs for the Division 1. You also have the old school Reichsman Old School, which is for the DBS crew guys. They are leading in the other zone, along with a very interesting team. Maybe the most, I would say, the most promising, one of the most promising teams we have in the league is a team called Ja Lions from Grand Bay. Doing very well in that league. They have some really good, promising young players, very agile and athletic guys, being coached by Mr. Dangoben and Mr. Fuego. They're doing a good job with the young guys. So these really, and Dr. Daru Falcons and the young teams are doing well as well in Division 1, and as well as with the Pebush and Detroit Blazers. So these are maybe the top 6 teams out of the 14 or 15 teams in the Division 1 that really setting themselves apart. And last weekend they all made they all had some good victories.
Donnie, can you identify some of the outstanding players?
Well, in Division 1 we have people like Yawani Regis from Pishley, Falcons doing his thing, doing very well. You have young Jetswan Lee from the Blazers doing very well as well. The West Coast Ballers have the Vidal guys doing pretty good, controlling the game and showing some maturity. But all in all, the teams, more than individual, the teams themselves are playing really good basketball. I'm starting to be impressed a bit by these young guys.
Okay, the NBA. Okay, so far so good. I mean, it's here. Based on what Donnie has said, the league is going nicely. There's some competition in the top 4 teams, and I just hope that all goes well, Donnie.
Yeah, I mean, the Division 1 is playing out to be very interesting this year. I mean, unlike the Premier divisions where you have 2 teams just really head and shoulders above the rest.
Right.
I mean, you only have 2 unbeaten teams. Both teams are 1 team 5-0, 1 team 4-0, and the rest of the teams are below 500, 2-3, and that kind of stuff. So, unlike the Premier division, the Division 1 is showing, 5, 6, 7 teams that are kind of setting themselves apart, which is good. At least you have a good crop of young players there that's showing some promise.
Yeah, yes, that is very good. That is very good because what I want to reemphasize is for us to go out and give support to the young guys who are playing basketball at this point in time. Some of our young people are involved in deviant behavior, and we speak about that all the time. But whenever our young people are involved in positive behavior, positive activities, we need to give them the total support. So let's go out there and please support our young basketballers.
Agreed. Well said. Yeah, we have a good crop of young guys, and I think more than just people attending the games. I think it's also the onus is also on us from the private sector as well to help when we can. Some sponsorship, some encouragement, so that it keeps the youth occupied off the streets and a little focused and keeps some discipline and all of what goes with sports. We all know about it. So we cannot say enough about supporting the youth.
Yes, and Danny, talking about support, would you say that the crowds have been coming and that you have seen an improvement in terms of the support that you're getting from the public?
Yeah, I would say the crowds are there for the popular teams, to be very honest. Where we have some work to do with the newer teams, to get the crowd to just come out and support basketball as opposed to following a particular team. So you have 3 or 4 teams that are very popular, their fan base is huge, and every time they play, the stadium is pretty full. But what we're trying to encourage now is spreading it out a bit, and that's why we want to do this village outreach with our basketball from the second round. We're going to go out and play basketball so we can try to build some of that fan base outside of the central normal crowd, But all in all, we do get decent support once we have especially when you have the more popular teams playing.
Okay, Donnie. So let's now move on to the NBA. It's at a very interesting stage now. You've got the Eastern Conference. Celtic has walked away 4-love over the Pacers. And in the Western Conference, we've got the T-Wolves and the Mavericks. It's now 3-1 and there's a game tonight. Just give us a synopsis of what you've seen in the NBA so far.
Playoffs.
Well, I will say, while I think we all discussed Celtics winning that division title, I don't think we saw 4-0 coming, to be very honest. I really thought the Pacers would have at least had 1 or 2 games. But it just shows that the regular season was not a fluke for Celtics. I think that's the best record in the league. They have the best, statistically, they have the best starting lineup in the league, even without their Porzingis who's injured. So I think Celtics kind of surprised a few of us there, although we expected them to win. And having said that, once Porzingis gets back, which is scheduled to come back for the finals, I think Celtics will be a real force to be reckoned with. From a team standpoint, they do have the best statistic, as I said, from a starting 5. So that was a little surprise there. But on the Western side, we also have for me, I was majorly surprised on the Western side. I thought by now it would be, at worst case scenario, tied up at 2. But having said that, apart from game number 3, all the games were very close. So I would still go out on a limb and predict that Timberwolves going to take this to 6 or 7 games. Dallas last game was a little outmanned in terms of size. They had a big man that was out with injury from the second half of the game. He's scheduled to come back tonight. So I expect the game to be close, but Timberwolves being at home and riding that, that little energy from that win, I would pick them to win tonight. But Dallas looks very tough to beat in 7 games. So it will be a dogfight, I think, at 7 if it gets there.
But Sidoni, in sports, when the team is down, when you're winning, you have to win in. You never give your opponent a chance. And I can tell you, as you said, that I expect anything to happen. Anything to happen. Dallas can win in 7. Also, Timberwolves can win also because they have the material.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think part of Timberwolves game, obviously, you can't have your 2 superstars shooting below 30% and expect to win. I mean, you ride these guys all year.
Yeah.
So those guys, the first 3 games, they just didn't shoot well. They were getting looks. They were just not scoring. And the last game, Anthony Towns was the second best 3-point shooting in terms of average in the playoffs. And up until the last game, he just didn't show up in the series. So if they can do what they do well, which is defend and shoot upwards of 40%, I feel.
Of course, they can do it.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
In terms of Anthony Edwards, what's your general impression and what you expect from him tonight?
Well, tell you, the guy does not, he doesn't back down to anybody. I mean,
True.
he's trying his best to keep up to his words. His energy level gets better with time. I mean, he's unreal in terms of his athleticism. I just think he will need some shooting support as he go down, the crucial games, because the burden is endless, having to fight Luka and Kyrie all night in terms of trading baskets. Luka and Kyrie may be the best scoring backcourt that you've had in a long time in the NBA. So the pressure is on him guarding Luka and still having to give. He must score 25 to 40 points for them to stand a chance. So, but I think if anybody can do it, he can. So I will still back him in terms of energy and having it, but it will take some doing to win 3 games in a row against Dallas.
But you see,
Kyrie
Tony,
Irving, the veteran Kyrie Irving, is showing some good form too.
obviously.
I think, Kyrie have always been a dominant player. He just hasn't had a dominant mind, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's his problem. You're
He
right.
hasn't been focused for a long time.
He's all over.
In the past, in the past 8 years or so, Kyrie is still maybe the best point guard in the league in terms of handling the ball, and he's won a couple championships, so he's been there. He's one of those players, I think, he turns it on and off too often.
Yeah.
But if he
Yep.
stays focused like he seems to be in Dallas, I mean, by far he's the better point guard left in the league for sure right now. So if he stays up there, it's tough to beat them. I see it going to 7. If Dallas doesn't win tonight, it's going to go to 7, and it can be anybody's series.
But Donny, you said something there about Edwards. What I find with Timberwolves, talking about to ease him up, I expect them to have more screen, which they are not using in the game. You're not screening enough. Unlike Mavericks. You look at Mavericks, they do a lot of screening. All right? And I think that's what Dallas can do. That's what they have to do, the coach. You have to screen more.
Yeah. I think Timberwolves if you look at the series with Denver, they were playing the high screen and roll effectively because Anthony Towns was hitting that shot when he cleared out.
Right.
In the first couple of games, they had to go away from it because he just couldn't make a shot for some reason. And then it put a lot of pressure on Anthony Edwards having to do a lot of one-on-one.
But you have to continue screening.
Yeah, but you have
You're
to.
not screening enough.
That's what got you there. Yeah, that's what got you there. You have to stick with it. But
okay,
let's hope tonight. I think tonight is going to be a good one.
Oh yes, I can't wait for tonight.
I predict Timberwolves in a blowout. Let's see.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thompson, you have any comments? Yeah, Donny, we appreciate your valuable contribution as usual. We're looking forward to other contributions. We hope that at least tonight T-Wolves can win so that series can continue to a future game.
Yes, I think so. Just to chime in that, Nobi, I know every week you ask about the basketball in the Winter Park. The rims are up, so we're looking at getting some games in the coming week. So just to share some good news.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you very much, Donny. And we'll be in contact with you for future valuable contributions. Good night, Donny.
Anytime, gentlemen. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks a lot.
You look at the Diamond League now. Hello.
When you want the bed, what you do? Shop at SCS. Better than the rest. Go shop at SCS. And they all confess. Shop at SCS. You get more for life. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Yeah. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. What is it? Shop at SCS. SCS family, customer friendly. With free locations, it's so convenient. And our prices, they are the nicest. Madam, that's where you belong. Oh, tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SCS. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SCS. Auntie, nan, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, couple, neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side, what? Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Oh, yeah. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Check us out at Pottersville, High Street, and downtown Roseau.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
It's on its way. The United Workers' Party, Team Dominica, the Electoral Reform Coalition, is launching the first Dominica Economic Revival Summit 2024 under the theme Planning for Sustainable Growth and Development, taking place June 4th to the 6th at the Jungle Bay Resort and Spa. Soufriere is on its way.
Present will be key stakeholders, government officials, business leaders, and experts in various fields in Dominica to engage in creating a master plan to serve as a roadmap to Dominica's future development. Healthy talk, lively debate in agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, agribusiness, renewable energy, construction, and the blue and green economy. It's on its way June 4th to the 6th. You don't want to miss the first Dominica Economic Revival Summit, which will begin on June 4th, the 4th until the 6th, where 9 outstanding Dominicans will be honored and awarded at the grand opening dinner and award ceremony on Tuesday, 4th June, $250. This will be followed by Dominica Economic Revival Summit on Wednesday and Thursday, 5th and 6th, from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Secure dinner tickets in person with Mr. Nicholas George at 285-5585. Seats at this economic revival will be limited, so don't delay. Now it's time to restart, kickstart, and jumpstart Dominica's economy. Restore and rescue Dominica's economy. Dominica, get ready for the Summit of Summits, taking place in Dominica at the Jungle Bay Resort and Spa. Get ready for some big surprises.
We have secured as the keynote speaker for the opening ceremony, Mr. Darwin Telemac, who is the head of the Port Authority in Antigua and Barbuda. And he will also be part of the conference dealing with the issue, the all-important issue of transportation and logistics, and how, as a country, as we begin to produce, as we begin to export, or we can tackle the issue of transportation.
Seats are limited, so register now. Register today with Mr. Nicholas George at telephone number 285-5585. That's 285-5585.
Good night to all our fans, all our listeners. Tonight, we expect to get an update from Ron Charles on the results from Brazil, the conference in Brazil, and the performance in Brazil by Young Baron. We also expect to get some information from Ebby Lawrence on local football, Israel Fontaine on the Kalinago Premier League, and then we need to discuss the T20, International T20 coming up. We expect Mr. Marcelin to join us. But before we go there, I invite Mr. Loblack to tell us something about the Diamond League, and especially FIA-LA4.
No, he's mute. Emmanuel, you're mute. You're mute.
Sorry. That is the professional league. That's where the athletes making their monies in the various leagues all over. That is leading up to the Olympic Games in Paris. And our own FIA-LA4 was on show last week in Oregon. And she came second, but I think I was very happy the way she performed. And I know that come Paris, she will be a very high medal contender. First time, I think, at the Olympic Games, we are going to have from the OECS. The OECS, we will have these three countries: Grenada, with Kirani in the 400 and Peters in the javelin. They are both medal contenders. Then you have Julian Alfred from St. Lucia, who gave a fantastic performance also in that meet. She came second, all right? Very, very close to the winner, the American Sha'Carri Richardson, and our own Fia Lafont from Dominica. So I believe come Paris, as long as these athletes stay healthy, I see them as huge contenders for medals at the Olympic Games in Paris.
Absolutely. And Emmanuel, it's a good thing because it shows that, at least the smaller islands, as you said, Grenada, St. Lucia, Dominica, having top quality athletes. It will add to the other Caribbean athletes, Jamaica and, of course, Bahamas, that have been really dominating the international scene for a long time. And we have a couple of very good athletes as well from the Bahamas that will be on show.
And also we have one from the BVI also, from the BVI.
Yeah.
Yes,
So it's really great, to think that, free the possibility of getting medals from free of the so-called small islands. I mean, that will be quite an important part of the Olympics, and something that all of us in the Caribbean, at least on that side, on the Lesser Antilles, should be looking forward to, because that potential certainly exists for all three that you mentioned to be medaling.
Yeah, because look at us, for example, you look at Peters in the javelin. All right. Recently, you had Walcott from Trinidad.
Yeah, right.
All right. Then Peters has been the one who was taken over as a very dominant javelin thrower in the English-speaking, in the world.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He has been very dominant, and I look at him also in a Diamond League. He looks very good. All right. Very, very good. All right. And also you had Julian Alfred. Look, don't forget this sprinter from St. Lucia.
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
I mean, look, I can tell you, look, she is a threat.
She's a threat. She's
yeah.
right there on any given day. I mean, she can edge out, the greats from Jamaica, and even Sha'Carri Richardson, who is the one who's dominating right now. One of my favorite athletes, by the way. But certainly, I think Alfred can show up.
Yeah, because what is very surprising, Landa and Fountain, in this Diamond League right now, we are not seeing these two Jamaican sprinters, Fountain, Jackson. We are not seeing them as dominant as before.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge surprise, and a lot of eyebrows have been raised. What is happening wrong? Look. For example, look today. Right, you had Jackson running, in Oslo, in the 200 meters, her favorite event. She placed 5th.
Wow.
In 22.9 something, and even last week in Oregon, you had Elaine Thompson. She placed last in the 100 All right. So we really wonder.
Yeah. So it really should be worrying, for both Jamaica and also when you think about it, Jamaica does not have any dominant sprinters even in the 100 meters. I mean,
the male in particular, but the female, the last couple of years we have seen, the dominance.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if they're no longer, as it appears now, it could be that they're on the decline. It's quite likely.
Well, in Jamaica, right now, there's a #1 club there with Francis Club in Jamaica, and seriously, it's a national debate right now. Not even what is also interesting, gentlemen. Jamaica have had 2 international meets, and these athletes have not. They were not available. Normally at home in the past, these female athletes would be there competing at home.
Mm-hmm.
And let's imagine that Jamaica is hosting an international meet, and their own. They're not present. I mean, this is something else. Jamaicans are worried, and not like that. They're very vocal now. What is happening?
Yeah, it could be a ploy as well. I mean, it could be trying not to reveal too much, but usually you'll find that is the time when
obviously you're shopping up.
Less than 2 months away,
from the Olympic Games,
you would expect them to be out there. So that has to be a worry for the Jamaicans, I'm sure. And I can just imagine the kind of debate that's going on in Jamaica, because I mean,
I'm telling you, serious debate.
Yeah.
Just imagine that, for example, that recently you had the World Relays in Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a fiasco. Total Jamaica. You're hearing that the top coach said that he wasn't aware this was the qualifying, meet. They can qualify for it in the 4x1 and the 4x4. Jamaicans took that serious. They said heads have to roll. This is nonsense. But I knew that. Everybody knows about that. This is the world relays. That's where you can qualify for the Olympic Games in the relays 4x1, 4x4. All right? It is just madness. They don't know what's happening. But at home, I'm looking forward. We are looking forward for fear, gentlemen, fear.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and I can tell you that, seriously, it only takes, as a jumper myself, triple jumper, it takes one jump. It takes one jump, and it can bring glory for you. Not two, you can take just one jump. We can just hope best for her. All goes well. She stays injury-free.
Lobby, we hope in the not-too-distant future to have Brendan Williams with us on the program to tell us about local programs for athletics, and more importantly, to tell us how we're going to rally Dominicans to give FIALA for critical support.
Yes,
I've spoken to him, you've raised a point, and we'll be looking at that point very critically, how Dominica, the whole of Dominica, can rally behind FIALA to let her know that Dominica is giving her optimal support.
But
we'll now go to the next point on the program. You want to make a point very quickly, Lobby?
Just to support, but you have been always talking about sports tourism. You've been talking about sports tourism. One thing that can be, you get to Grenada, you get to the airport, you see the pictures of the athletes. You get to Bahamas, you get to St. Lucia right now. That's what we should be thinking, we should have had. The DOC, the phrase here, they should be leading in that, taking the initiative.
That has been discussed, Lobby, and when Brendan Williams comes on, he'll tell us a little bit more about that.
Don't forget, the Olympic Games is close at hand there.
Yes, in September. We are fully conscious of that. So we go next to Mr. Ebby Lawrence to discuss some football. He'll tell us a little bit about the local competition. We'll also look at the upcoming engagements, Dominica, the Jamaica game, Dominica-Guatemala game. And we'll have some time to continue our quiz. Ebby Lawrence, good night.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you? Very good discussion. I was just listening on the backdrop, and like Lobby rightly said, it takes one jump, but in football it takes one goal as well.
I like that.
Every one goal you can lose 6-1. You score one goal and you lose 6-1.
It can take one goal, man. One goal, one love.
One love.
One
love, Debbie. 1-0.
1-0. Yeah, man. 1-0, and that would be remarkable. But nonetheless, I was just listening, gentlemen, and really and truly, honestly, that's where now I'm considering football. As I've said earlier and spoken to you on prior programs, if the private sector could really see where we are going, with the product we want to develop, and Lobby rightly said, sports tourism. And what better way we could highlight our very sports ambassadors. You see, I always say to people, we look down on ourselves, believing that we always third world, but we are not third world. When we look at ourselves, we are big giants in a small world, but nonetheless, that will come in due time. In due time, we will see banners of our sportsmen and women being raised high. But nonetheless, we are here to talk football tonight. And football continues. The first division games continue because there is a lull, a short break on the Premier League because of the upcoming FIFA qualifiers. But tonight, as we are speaking, we have the Police Sports Club coming up against Wayne George Academy at the Stock Farm Training Center. And at Dublin, we have the Granville versus Collioure. That is happening as we speak now, if they are just about to start. That is in the first division. Tomorrow, the Lord tarries, we will have Derby Boys coming up against RC Doctors. RC Doctors is a team from Rivière Civic comprising of Grandfond and some people of Rivière Civic and Roseau. So the Derby Boys tomorrow will be coming up against RC Doctors at 6:30 p.m. at the Stock Farm Training Center. And on Saturday, there is a double header. We have the South City FC, that's a new team on the block, coming up against TRFC. TRFC stands for the Trafalgar Football Club, and that game will be played at 4 p.m. and they will come up against, as I've rightly said, South City FC. And at 6:30, All Saints comes up against DSFC, again at the Stock Farm Training Center. While at the Benjamin Park, we will see Marigot United playing Houthi Blazers. That's for the Saturday. And on Sunday, the First Division League continues. We have ACS Maribel Tarish United coming up against Botswana at the Stock Farm Training Ground, and Lakia Joseph Kalibishi FC doing battle with Exodus at the Benjamin Park. That's on Sunday. And at 6:30 p.m., Do It Center, Mighty Avengers coming up against Early Stars. Providing we have good weather, gentlemen and listeners of Q95, these are the scheduled matches for the First Division games of the Dominica Football Association.
Okay, let's move across now to the regional engagements, the Guatemala game and the Jamaica game. And I would like you to highlight some of the outstanding players.
Well, the team is poised. Tomorrow, the Lord tarries. There will be a press conference where the full team will be disclosed to the public. Gone are the days, as I was telling the coach earlier on in the discussion we had, that he just picked the team and it's the PR's responsibility to let the public know. But he now will be facing the public where he will be quizzed and disclose his team based on what he saw, based on what the technical members of his squad see, that then the team will be made known tomorrow to the public. They will be traveling on Sunday to Guatemala. And their game will be on the 5th. It will be played at 10 p.m. Guatemalan time. That will be 18 our time. They return on Friday short time to just get themselves settled down in the hotel to do action on Sunday the 9th of June at 3 p.m. in the Windsor Park Stadium. All clears have been given. We pray God again for good weather. We know that we will have a mammoth crowd. We know that, and we are doing it on our part to bring the Dominican flavor to the game. So that's one that the spectators and the patrons can look forward to. If I single out one player, then I as PRO will get blamed, but I just want to...
We'll wait tomorrow then.
We wait tomorrow for the coach to disclose. I would not want to say this player is better than that one, because the coach would be a better person to say who I stop. But I believe in the earnesty of things that the entire team, they are formidable force to be reckoned with. But my only problem, and I've been lamenting that, is that we need ways now to create a better platform where our players can gel in better. Sometimes it takes too long to bring our overseas base. And I will get blows from the FA and I'll get blows from people. That's okay. But the players that elected us wants to see things happen and wants to see it better. So sometimes we take too long to take decisions that are necessary to develop the football. Because even tonight, some of the players are coming in, and it's kind of sadly on our part, but nonetheless, we know air travels and the problems now. Sunrise is here, so we pray God all will work well. But nonetheless, these are things we need to gear up moving forward, and we just pray and hope everything will work well for our players. And come tomorrow, although there is a press conference from the Prime Minister's end, but nonetheless, I believe sports will receive its fair share of the pudding from our media. Let's see how our media personnel will really stand to us and bring out the sports news to the world. Let us see what is happening. Let us see what is happening from the mouth of the horses itself. That's where we are when it comes to the Dominica Football Association. Other programs are happening as we speak. We do not want to shadow them. There is the RTC program, the Regional Training Center programs happening as we speak with the ladies under 14. Now we have the under 14 young men training, getting themselves ready for the CONCACAF summer program that is to be played when the venue is given by CONCACAF. So there is a lot going on. There is the B licensing going on for our coaches. There is a referees course going on for the new referees. So there is quite a lot going on within the ambits of the DFA now. And again, like I say, it's just a matter of unfolding. And as we unfold the events and programs, the public will understand that, hey, we are not just there saying that's DFA, and we are kicking ball, but we want a holistic development of our athletes, gentlemen, and listeners of Q95.
Very good, AB. We want to spend some time in running the quiz, but there are 1 or 2 areas I just want to raise with you very quickly.
Yes, you could do it.
I subscribe to free thinking. I think it's a progressive way, and that's the way we can develop, working with each other, free thinkers. What do you think about the closeness of the Guatemala and the Brazil game?
Well, look, the funny thing about that, I am happy you asked Mr. Landa, because I say to people, football is a continuum. I believe that you jump off a plane, you rest for 2 hours, then you back on the field. It shows your agility, it shows your how ready you are, because football continues, and probably right now in Dominica there is a little break the Premier team, but I believe the players should continue playing football until the day. Until the day given, because you travel today, play tomorrow, come back Monday, you play Tuesday. So the short break, that's not no excuse. Once a solid team and solid programs were set for them. That's me speaking.
Yeah, but distant traveling can impact on the player's ability and his consistency. That's the only thing.
That is true. That is true. That barring the distance traveling, but nonetheless, we should again. And that is an area probably we as a country should really consider, as in really having a sports psychologist and preparing our players for such things. And as an FA, probably we need to look at it where we can condition our players for such transitionings where we know they have long travels and they have to come back. How do we transition them to get ready for an action again?
The other area I want to raise with you is it pertains to the management of the stadium and the availability, because if we are playing at home, we should have a home field advantage, and we should have easier access to a stadium for us to train in our stadium before we play the final game. What is your opinion on the availability of the stadium for footballers?
Man, all this afternoon while working with my students, I had some students working with, a gentleman met me and said, but strange enough, Mr. PRO, I did not see the national team training at the stadium. Now I laugh because the stadium should be and is our home ground. The availability of the stadium lies in the powers that be. And I'm going to say the powers that be is not just the political directorate, but the management of stadium. How serious do we take in sports? How serious do we look at sports tourism as we are talking? How serious do we look at bettering what we have? For example, a game is going on a game is to be played on Sunday, and they are working on the weekend. Now, there and now, I'm not saying it will happen. There and now, FIFA could just say to us that the stadium is not ready. What do? We take the game to St. Lucia, we take it to Guadeloupe, and then the FA will get blows. We need now to develop a comprehensive master plan for sports, where the stadium will be seen not just as a set place, but as a place where talents will be grown, talents will be nurtured, and the management of the stadium should harness his or her resources, or his resources in that case, and bring in the necessary associations, bring in the football association, the very sports division within the Ministry of Sports and Culture. We cannot do things in isolation. The FAF has its mandate to govern football, but if the DFA together with the DOC, together with the Cricket Association comes together, and a very sports council that we are talking about, together with the management committee of the stadium, come together and sit and have a comprehensive master plan for sports in Dominica, I believe we will be okay.
That is the question.
Go ahead,
Louis.
Yeah, and the first thing, just talking about the availability of the stadium. I'm very happy being involved in the past with the football, preparing the Dominica team. I'm very happy that Stock Farm is available. Very happy that Stock Farm is available. All right, yeah, the team can practice regularly. It's true we should have the stadium, but there's a field at Stock Farm, and I'm very happy for that. We didn't have in the past. We used to struggle to get the stadium. Secondly,
but Louis, there is one technical consideration in terms of the surface.
Yeah, but that's also I know. But in the meantime, you have to do with what you have. All right, you have to do with what you have. We should be there. It's more oval. The Windsor Park, for example, is a cricket field, so it's more oval compared to Stockholm that is flat. All right, yeah, it's oval.
Technically, they're technicalities, yeah.
All right. Now, Mr. You spoke about the game on Wednesday and on Sunday. First of all, I always believe that this is no exception. That's how football is all over the world.
Exactly.
All over the world. And now what is important is your team preparation. Fitness is paramount of importance. All right? How fit that team is. Very, very important. And in terms of your practice games, all right, but it's very, and the players coming from overseas also, you made a valid point. All right, timing is very important. The players are coming in on Sunday. You have to know in terms of how fit they are, you have to try, are they match ready? All right, so I know you have my concerns, you have your concerns.
Thank you very much, Lobby. Thank you very much, Abby. What we're going to be doing for the next 5-10 minutes is promoting the Dominica-Jamaica game. We're going to run a quiz. We started it last week. We're going to continue it today. And next Thursday, we're going to run a quiz based on Delmagis is going to be sponsoring certain tickets to come to the game on the following Sunday. So we're going to promote the Dominica-Jamaica game.
Before closing, Mr. Lander, I may just stop you on your show next Thursday.
Okay, my brother.
In person?
In person. I don't mind taking bullets. Don't you worry, Lovey. I will be armored.
Okay. Thank you very much, Eddie. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
So we're going to continue promoting. We're going to run a quiz, ask a few questions, get the fans involved to promote that Dominica-Jamaica game because we want optimal participation in that game.
And thank you very much for doing such wonderful work, Sports and promoting football and others.
Okay, Abby, good night. I then move on to Mr. Fountain. Mr. Fountain is going to play some quiz. Did the guys follow up for their tickets?
Well, I checked with the PRO. The tickets were not ready. We should have asked him if the tickets are ready. But we'll contact the winners because when I checked after the show, I checked with the PRO and they said the tickets were not yet available to the public. So as soon as they're available, we'll make them available to our listeners. We really appreciate, the huge fan base that we have. It's sure we're not mentioning your names every game, but we certainly appreciate all of you, and we want to give back in a big way to to our many fans across the globe. So if you're in Dominica in particular, now is your chance. We are going to make it a lot easier. I think last week we asked some very difficult questions. So we are going to make it easier and we'll move along, I suspect, a lot more quickly. So get ready to call and don't think of looking at your computer. You will not find the answer there, all right? So here is the first question. The first question for you. Very, very easy question. And of course, you will call the regular numbers for this. And it's a very simple question, but it is a 3-part question. You're supposed to get every single part of that question right. The question, our very first question is, and listen very carefully, what year did Dominica become a FIFA member? What year did Dominica become a FIFA member? Who was the Dominica Football Association president during that year? And the third question is, what is the FIFA code for Dominica? Okay, so it's 3 easy questions. The year we joined FIFA, the president when that happened, and the FIFA code that has been assigned to Dominica.
Fair play.
All right, we already have a first caller. Caller, good evening. You would like to take a shy at the answers to this question? Very easy one. Caller, go ahead, please. All right, the caller is either not listening or he's not. All right, so let me repeat the question in case you missed it. The year that Dominica became a FIFA member, who was the president when that happened, and also the code for the country that has been assigned by FIFA. All right, and we have a few minutes for this this question. And again, the prize for this particular answer to the question is a ticket. All right, we'll be giving 3 more tickets. We have already had 2 winners in the last squeeze, so we'll be giving this for this squeeze. We'll be having 3 more winners quickly. So the numbers, of course, to call 449-3095 or 449-3096, 3097. All right. So if you can call in and suggest your answer for this, or I hope it's not too hard. Is that a difficult question, Emmanuel? Okay. All right. So it seems. All right, Emmanuel, you are muted. All right. So
sorry. No, very easy question. That shouldn't be hard at all.
Yeah, it's an easy question. So we encourage our callers to call in. Certainly on Sports Wrap, our fans, you're following football. We have the Jamaica, and interesting of the Jamaica team. They're ranked number 55. Jamaica team ranked number 55, and Dominica ranked number 180. So it's almost like Goliath versus Samson versus Goliath that we are going to be having there on the 9th, and we're giving away, Sports Wrap is giving away free tickets. All right, so this is the question. The year that Dominica joined FIFA, who was the president during that year of the Dominica Football Association? And the final question, of course, is the code that FIFA assigned to Dominica. It's just a country code that we have, so it's a very easy one there. All right, we'll give you a few more minutes to call. 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-307. And one of the concerns that I have, Ron, is the fact that the game is being played, the Guatemala game. All right, so we have a caller. Go ahead, please, caller.
Yes, Dominica joined FIFA in 1995.
Okay, correct.
And the code assigned by FIFA to Dominica is DMA. The president at the time was Patrick Roland John.
All right. You see, very easy and a very fit caller. Thank you very much, caller. You are absolutely correct with this one. So let's get to your name and your contact number. Kelvin Francis. Okay. All right, yeah, and your number?
285-5872.
5872. All right, so we'll contact you with your ticket. All right, the free ticket to the game.
Welcome, Francis.
Yeah, certainly. We are very happy and anxious to give back to the Dominican to our fan base. So thank you very much, Kelvin, for that. I said it would be a very easy one because last week we thought the questions were a bit too difficult last week.
No, that's a sports person. He was calling Sports Wrap.
All right, excellent. So that is a lot easier.
Yes,
all right,
because we are trying again to encourage as many Dominicans to support the upcoming Dominica-Jamaica game. Not only this game, but to support sporting activities in Dominica. We've got quite a number of our young people involved in deviant behavior on their mobilette and if they're spliffing their mouth. When we've got guys who are involved in constructive activity, let's come out and give them that type of support to encourage other young fellas to get involved in constructive activity. Don't Fontaine, the next question.
All right, the next question, it goes back to a question that I asked last week, but another part of it, in 2004, that was probably the very successful year for Dominica. Dominica played against, when in the qualifiers, that was a big year for Dominica, and because our facility was not available, both games were played overseas. One was played in San Antonio, and the other one was played in Mexico City. And that year we played against Mexico. It was a big year for Dominica. The question, again, a two-part question, was in the San Antonio game, what was the score? What was the score? The Mexico, Dominica, what was the score? And who was the Dominica coach at that time? All right. So again, a very simple question for those of you who are following Dominica football. You remember that the qualifiers, 2004, there was a game against Mexico. The first time that Dominica played against Mexico, And what was the score? Dominica, Mexico. I mean, Mexico was ranked at the time. I think Mexico was ranked 6th in the world. Dominica was ranked 162. And we had to come up against Mexico. So you know how difficult it was for Dominica, but we were able to to battle it out. So the question for our listeners, and again, it will earn you a free ticket. So we're making it very easy for you tonight. If you want a free ticket, we are basically giving back to our fans, for your support, your constant listening to Sports Wrap. So we are giving back to you, and we're giving you a couple minutes now to get your answers together. And the question again is in the game against Mexico 20 years ago, Dominica played against Mexico. What was the score in that game? And who was the Dominica coach at that time? The coach of the Dominica team that played against Mexico in San Antonio, Texas. That was our home base at the time, San Antonio, Texas. All right, so we're looking forward to your answer. Now, the neither Jamaica nor Guatemala are ranked as high as Mexico City. Jamaica is ranked 55th, as I said. Guatemala 108. So in a way, we still stand a chance, I think. But I'm really concerned, Manuel and Lander, about the proximity of the games. I know that you say is normal, but that's a normal thing if you are home. Like if they were just in Dominica and the teams were coming. But the fact that you have to travel and it takes 2 days, to come from Latin America back to Dominica, it really takes 2 days of travel, So let's go to the telephones with your answers. We do have a caller. Caller, go ahead, please. Give us the score. Again, a very easy question. We're giving it to you because we want to get this done very, very, very quickly. We are giving away. Yes.
Mexico's score was 10-0 and the coach was Erickson Christopher.
Sorry, what was the score?
10-0.
And the coach?
Erickson Christopher.
All right, this is not correct. I will not tell you which is correct, but I'll just let you that it is not correct. So let's go to the other. Thank you very much. Let's go back to the telephones again. The scores and the score in San Antonio and the Dominica coach. Go ahead, please.
10-0 Don Yogal.
All right, correct. Correct. You see, very easy. Very easy. 10-0 Don Yogal. Well done. All right. Blue will certainly get you that ticket. All right.
Good
so
shot, man.
Yes. All right. So we are going to go through the final question. Again, and it's around the Mexico game. So I want to go back in history again. In that game versus Mexico, from the playing 11, there was a certain number of players from the village of Grand Forks. We set a record of the number of players on the Dominica team from my village of Grand Forks. How many players were on the 11, the starting 11 of that team? All right. So call us again, 3095. There were a couple of players on the starting 11 from Grand Forks. If you can give me the number of players from Grand Forks who formed that team in the 11 qualifying there.
The first 11.
The first 11. Caller, go ahead, please.
Good night. Can I say good night to Mr. Luis wherever you are?
Yes, sure. Good night. A very good night, yes.
Chibo, good night to LeBlanc, Mr. Fontaine.
Good night.
Lambert Charles. Good night to you all.
Yes, very good night.
Good night.
Anybody know about Mr. Luis? If he's getting on, or how is he?
Based on what I'm hearing, that he's doing fine for now.
Okay, all right. I just say good night to him and all the post-fast crew. Good night to you all.
All right, good night, and thank you very much. All right, so we are going to go back to the telephones. Of course, the question again. I have one more lucky fan is going to get a free ticket to that game on the 9th of June. Caller, go ahead, please.
Let's call to find out how and when am I getting my ticket.
We will inform you. Don't worry, we will inform you. All right.
All right then. Thank you.
Yes. We have your contact. We'll inform you. Thank you. All right. Let's continue. Good evening, caller. Go ahead, please. Yes, caller. Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, you want to take a try at the
How
answer
many
to this
players
very
in
easy
Grand Four?
question.
Yes.
Yes.
Three from Grand Four.
All
Three
right.
of them.
3 players made the starting 11. That is correct. And thank you very much. So very easy questions. All right. All right. Very well done, caller. Can you give us your contact information so we can make sure we get your ticket to you?
Joycelyn Green.
Joycelyn Green. Okay.
La Plain.
All right.
245-2110.
Okay, Joycelyn. All right.
2110. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. So here we have it. 5 lucky fans have been rewarded with free tickets to that game on the 9th. And runners, we certainly want to encourage Dominicans to come out, in their numbers to support Dominica. And who knows what can happen.
Yes, I wanted something here, Fountain.
Go ahead, Lobby.
Yes, on what I want to especially the Jamaica game. Jamaica has improved. I mean, you're going to look. We are playing a top team right now. Jamaica, has improved leaps and bounds in football. All right, and I think there are a number of top international players on that team. That is why we should always come out, especially the young players, come out and support football. Because Jamaica right now, you know that next month is the Copa America, where you have the South America and CONCACAF team. And Jamaica, they have qualified. All right? They're a very tough group. So, and they have been playing a number of international games. All right? So I'm expecting a high level of football. You can only improve. We can only improve by being competitive. That's all we have to do, being competitive and look at our mistakes.
Yeah, and also having this 12th man is very important for us, knowing who we are playing against. As you said, they're much improved. We need this 12th man.
Yeah, and you see, Fountain and Landa, as you said about the timing of the game, it's very unfortunate. It's like playing, for example, you're talking about Guatemala and Sunday, Jamaica. No matter what, where you play, you could be in a group in one country, and you might suffer, and you end up suffering with a number of injuries. So it's just not easy. You just have to just hope and pray that the Guatemala game, we won't have any major injuries, That's very, very important. Coming back home.
Yes, Lobby. Let's not belabor that point. But just the traveling and Fountain we are concerned about. But let's hope everything works out fine and we continue promoting the Jamaican game. Next week, courtesy Del Najes will be giving 5 tickets to encourage our fans to participate in the game. 5.
Another 5 tickets.
Another 5 tickets.
Okay, that's very good. Very
Abby
good.
Abby Lawrence has given me some very current questions. So we'll be doing some very current questions next week, Thursday, to encourage Dominicans to go out and support our team in totality.
Yes.
No, that is excellent. That's excellent. So more giveaways there for the very loyal fans. We have a very loyal fan base, Ron, who they tune in. I mean, listeners tune in every single Thursday to listen to Sports Rap. And we're really thankful for that.
And Fountain, Landa, you at home. Is there a jingle in terms of promo for the game on the radio stations?
I heard one early on today. Abby was supposed to furnish me with it. So I would have used it tonight. But I heard something early on today.
Okay, all right. Any banner out?
I've not seen any banners. But Lobby, we are doing what we can do as a sports rap, as a sports program. We are promoting as much as possible. So the point you're making there is something that the Football Association should be listening to and taking the necessary action.
I agree. Yeah.
We have 2 other areas that we want to go into there. We want to look at some cricket. We want to see what's happening in the Kalinago Premier League. And for the rest of the evening, we want to discuss the upcoming T20. We'll be asking fans to participate so we can discuss
West Indies success. Remember, we just beat
We'll definitely raise that. We'll definitely raise that against South Africa.
And we'll be watching the game live. West Indies versus Australia. We should have started a few minutes ago.
Already? Since 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock, yeah.
You waiting for Mr. Fountain?
All right.
Yeah. We are very happy that certain things are happening in sports in Dominica, and we want to continue encouraging the development of sports in all different dimensions in Dominica, be it domestic sports, be it international sports. We heard recently about a young boxer, a police officer, going out of Dominica and doing well for himself. What I hope to see happening in the not too distant future is when people are going out to represent Dominica, that the tourist board, the tourist authority gets involved and to provide them with information and promotional materials so we can deal with sports tourism in that particular way. In the other way, the Jamaica-Dominica game, I would like to encourage persons in the region, persons in the VIs, persons in Antigua. This is the opportunity to visit Dominica, come back home, to see your family, and look at a football game. So we've got some sports tourism going. It's unfortunate, I keep on belaboring that point, it's unfortunate that we allow that T20 international games to go astray. We should have organized ourselves. The Dominica Cricket Association, the government of Dominica should have organized ourselves in such a way to have the T20 games in Dominica. It's unfortunate. Let's learn from it and see how in future we can develop, as Lobby is saying, sports tourism.
Yes.
It's important that we get economic activity in Dominica.
Yes, Ron, just to inform our listeners that the game, and for the first time, we get a chance as to what kind of team West Indies will put forward. All the players that were in the IPL are available, and they have been selected for tonight's game. So West Indies are batting first. They're off to a flying start after 3.5 overs, 52 for 1. The batsman to fall, Shea Hope. They had Shea Hope opening the batting along with Johnson Charles. Shea Hope got 14 with 1 6 and 2 4s and a strike rate of 175. Johnson Charles is going great guns. A strike rate of 176.9. So far, Johnson Charles of 13 balls has 23 runs, and Nicholas Pooran, on the other hand, has a strike rate of 600. He's faced 2 balls. Actually, he's faced 3 balls and he's hit 3 sixes. That's Nicholas Pooran. West Indies is playing against Australia. And that is a very interesting game. So West Indies 58 for 1. Nicholas Pooran 58 for 1 after 4 overs. They are now batting at a rate of 14.5 and over.
Yeah.
Nicholas Pooran in his same belligerent self there run after facing 3 balls and hitting 3 sixes. So he's 18 and Johnson Charles 23.
What's the team? What's the full team for that game?
The full team, as we have it there, is Shea Hope, Johnson Charles, Nicholas Pooran, Royston Chase, Shimron Hetmeyer, Obed McCoy, Rovman Powell, Shama Joseph, Brandon King. Now I suspect that they're allowing everybody an opportunity. So it will depend on how the game goes, because it's a practice game. It is not a set 11. But basically the same 15. The same 15 that has been selected, they are the ones that are appearing on the score sheet. So they will select based on how the game develops. They will select who actually participates. But in terms of the score sheet, we have the 15 players that will be the West Indies official representation when the World Cup kicks off next week.
But Fontaine, I was the series with South Africa, I was very happy that Shama Joseph played. And I think I was very much impressed with him. What do you think?
Yes, well, Shama Joseph, is key. I think he's a very important player there for the West Indies. Although, the problem with this T20 though is that you can be the best pace bowler and you can get hammered.
Well, and he bowled straight.
Lobby, just 1 minute, please. We're going to spend the rest of the evening discussing this competition, the T20 competition. But before we continue, we've got Ron Charles on the line to give us an update on what transpired in Brazil. Ron Charles, good night. Good night, Ron Charles.
Good night. Good night to you and your many listeners. And to your panel, Dr. Fountain is there, and Mr. Lou Black, and Mr. Landa, and Mr. Sibo. I haven't heard his voice for a while, but I suspect he is there.
No, he's not there. He's dealing for external matters.
Okay, all right. But thank you for having me.
So please give us an update on the Brazil engagement.
All right, thank you. Let me again say it was a wonderful experience for the team that represented Dominica in the likes of the coach Levi Barron, Coaf Barron, the under-23 athlete, and of course, in my capacity as the president of the Dominica Cycling Association. I think we went up there twofold. One is to participate in the event, that is the road race under 23. And also I went there to, as part of the Congress, Pan American Congress that was held in Brazil just a couple days ago. The important thing that must be highlighted is over 32 countries participated in this event. And I think what it is, it gives a really sound and succinct information as to the way for cycling. I see that serious areas were highlighted, anti-doping and doping, and the issue of, getting people on the bike, getting persons to appreciate that cycling is not just, to go out there and race, but cycling can be used as a form of transportation. The issue of integrity of the sport was fundamental, and was part of the president, David, who highlighted that the integrity of the sport is big. And you would know that in cycling too, you have doping and you have issues of that, but it's not as regular as some of the other sporting events. All in all, the Congress also taught us how we must engage our international organization, and that is to be able to submit projects that would be able to assist our local organization like the Dominica Cycling Federation. So we got a lot of information as it relates to that, and I believe I've already discussed it with you. And on this program, we were able to get from our international body, we got a coaching course for submission. That is a coaching course for one of our personnel who will be going to do this. It'll be starting, I believe, in June. We got one for the mechanical part of it. So we have now an athlete, not an athlete, but a person from our organization will now be doing the mechanical course. We also have Coaf, and I like to break the news on Sports Wrap, which is the biggest sports event in Dominica. So again, let us say that Coaf has been given the opportunity to go to Canada to undergo more training as it relates to cycling at a higher level. So that in itself is big for us. We also got our grassroots program going on with our solidarity program with the UCI. So we have gotten some things from them, and it was through our hard work as a committee. We made our submissions and we were successful over 205 countries are competing to get these kind of solidarity program go through. And the hard work pay off, and I want to say thumbs up to the team and all the executive members who work hard to make this happen. So we got this. We also got an opportunity in this program for the Congress to be able to interact with other presidents from various countries, asking them questions. How do they do this? How do they do this? Being able to get an insight on how to grow our grassroots program. And that in itself, was a wonderful experience. Brazil in itself as a country, one must realize that definitely it has created, it has opened my eyes on a lot of things, infrastructural development and so forth. And we can see where we sit now that definitely cycling can go to the next level. We just have to continue to stick at it. Now, for the race itself, as it relates to Coaf participating on Friday at this event, it was a wonderful, again, the preparation was good for Coaf. He was in good shape. Things were looking nice. When the race commenced, and I think you would have heard it from his coach, Mr. Barron, who articulated some of the more, personal issues. When I say personal issues, meaning that coach and athlete issue that I may not have all the view of. But what it was is the race was 100 miles. Coaf started off tremendous. He started off great. He was in the pack, I know, and everything was going absolutely perfectly. And then you have, and again, when he arrived on the 85 mile, then he had to stop to get water, because it is not as easy as doing a race in Dominica where you can just stop on the side of the road and give somebody some bottles of water. This is something that is a team, almost of it must be a team oriented. Levi was the only one there, and I was somewhere at the back trying to assist to the little that I can. But these roads and
Were you riding? Were you riding, Ron Charles? Were you riding?
Sorry?
Were you riding?
No. I will not venture in this area at this time. But all in all, he had to be pulled off from the race, because the way the race, the commissaires operate, or we could say the referees of the game, as long as you are a certain amount of minutes at the back of the main group, what we call the peloton, would be at the head. Once you, let's say 2 minutes, 3 minutes at the back, they can pull you off. And they pull him off of the race. He was very, very, disappointed, because he knew he had it. But the thing is, it was very difficult to get him water. He did not have it. And one may say, but how could he not have water? But the races are conducted in such a way, the commissaires give you, Dominica, the permission to come bring water for Coaf, and it's not like at your own free will whenever you want. It doesn't work like that. It's a process. You have to make sure you get that call from the commissaire, because you cannot be seen disturbing the race or obstructing any cyclist at that level. All in all, it was a wonderful experience, and I think, the sky is the limit for our athletes. As we move forward in cycling, because we do know too, we do have other young persons coming up. Ajani Kazimi is another example of a wonderful athlete in the cycling world, and I believe he too will bring wonders for Dominica as a country. So that was the experience for us. It is something that we're going to, move on. We're going to try our best to learn from it. And as I reported to the DOC, who I must say have assisted us in order that we could go to the event, because without the Dominica Olympic Committee, I think I said it last Thursday, it would be very, very difficult for us to be able to get the financing to do so. Because as you know, without the DOC, basically, you don't get that kind of input, or one would say, you don't get that injection of finance from the sports division, for example. You don't get it from the Ministry of Sports. One may say that, things are tight with them, or whatever the case may be. But I believe every national federation, no matter what sport and discipline, should be given some kind of budget so that they can able to manage and help the young people to go to the next stage. So notwithstanding that, I know that they do their best in whatever capacity they can. However, financially, I believe we need to get an input into that, so that the cyclist or the athlete can benefit from those kind of financial gain. So having said that, it was a wonderful experience for us. The next step for cycling is that we're going to be revisiting our season. Remember, we have a season. We have missed about 2 races, because again, these 2 races they were one was, I believe, the Cabrits, the event they had at the Cabrits, and we had to call it off. Because we believe it was for the best. It's better to put the athletes' health and safety before anything else. So hopefully we will be starting in the next week or so. We'll have a race schedule, and then we'll continue the season. We'll have our national race coming up, hopefully on the 23rd of June, 2024. That in itself is an event that the UCI recognizes. And you get points for it if you emerge the winner, as long as we register you and ensure that you do what you have to do to get those points, which will be on your card for international events and put you up the ladder. So that is it for cycling. Again, I want to continuously thank the Sports Wrap for at least spreading the good news for sports in Dominica, and thank you for reaching out to us. We are a small organization. We are always saying that we're open for people to come in and help, because we need that help. We need volunteers. When you have a race, for example, You need people to come in and help and assist on the side of the road and be part and parcel of taking care of the athletes. We have a good crop of young people coming up now and participating in the events. We need the encouragement from the parents. So we're asking everybody to get on board, because I believe cycling and likewise many other sporting disciplines in Dominica, as soon as the real attention is given to sports, and Dr. Thompson Fountain will say sports and agriculture, we're going to see Dominica going places.
Thank you very much, Ron Charles. Thank you very much for your valuable contribution. I will continue interacting with you. Thank you very much. Okay,
Thank
brother.
you for the opportunity.
Okay.
And congratulations.
Thank you, Doc.
Okay, what we want to do for the rest of the program, the rest of the time, is continue discussing the T20 World Cup. And we invite fans to participate, to contribute as much as possible. Dr. Fountain, the first thing he did, he spoke about the team, the current team. And very lately there was a Holder got injured, and McCoy was brought in for Holder. So you got that left-hand medium pacer. Let's see how well he can contribute. Also, the selectors were looking at Afanas. They were looking at him very closely, especially when they went on the tour recently. Where they went to the tour?
To Nepal.
Nepal. They had him as vice captain. And I've been hearing some real good comments from different commentators throughout the region on the guy's ability. And I hope that he can get the right management to take him to the next level. But let's talk a little bit about the team.
Yes, all right. So you know the team already, and it's the same team that's on display. The very first time we're getting them together, and they're not disappointing already. West Indies, after 6.4 overs, they're 92 for 1. Purran is batting in a way that we know he can. I mean, he has 45 or 15 balls, 5 6s and 3 4s. He probably have 1 or 2 singles in between there. Johnson Charles doing very well as well. 6 4s, no 6s just yet, but he's 30 of 17 balls. So West Indies are looking really, really good. As you said, the one change made in the side, and that is McCoy brought in for Jason Holder. But what I find interesting is that particular lineup, because that most likely will be the lineup. But Brandon King was not asked to open. And instead, Shea Hope, one would have thought that Shea Hope would have come in at number 3, but he was asked to open this particular game. But my team, Ron, in terms of the starting 11 for me, I would absolutely love to see opening Johnson Charles and King, Brandon King. These to me are the openers. Number 3 would be Shea Hope at number 3. Then we would bring in at number 4. We would bring in Royston Chase, possibly at number 4. And then we would have at number 5, Rovman Powell, number 6, Andre Russell. And then in terms of the bowlers,
you haven't called Purran. You didn't call Purran.
Oh, sorry, Purran. I'm sorry. Okay, let's take this again. Let's take this again. Purran, of course. Purran. They said Purran. So let's take this again. The openers for me would be King and Johnson Charles to open. Shea Hope at number 3. Nicholas Purran at number 4. And then we would have at number 5, we would have Royston Chase. Then at 6, we would have Rovman Powell, 7, Andre Russell, so that they can basically come in and finish the game at number 7. And then we would go into the 4 bowlers. And it depends on the playing conditions that we could bring in, whether we bring in both spinners, Akil Hossain and Moti, or whether we play only one spinner. So I suspect in the first 11 we may not see Sherfane Rutherford in the first 11, but definitely in the order that I suspected. For some reason, in this particular game, where West Indies are now 100 for 1 after 7 overs at a strike rate of 13.9, they seem to be making a very big statement right from the outset.
Very, very good. In terms of the fast bowlers, are both Josephs played?
Yes, I think both Josephs will find a peak. Certainly, you will have both Alzarri Joseph and Alzarri and Sharma Joseph. I expect them to start the bowling. And of course, the question is whether you bring in, well, it has to be both the Josephs. And if you bring in two spinners, then you'll have Moti and Akil Hussein. But then you could also bring in either Shepherd or McCoy, but certainly Shepherd and probably one spinner. So it depends on the playing conditions. I think they will bring in two spinners. But that to me is the team I think that will be going into. But tonight's game will give us a good sense, depending on who actually plays, because the whole 15 guys are up for possible selection tonight.
Yeah, one of my concerns here with the team, this is a good representation. But in terms of the preparation, I would have loved to see the team coming together, gelling together at an earlier stage, working with each other at an earlier stage. What we have to do, or West Indies, Cricket West Indies, the IPL, and the International Cricket Council must find a way of a coordination between the IPL and years when we have the T20 competition, to have a larger space, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, where the players can go back home and work with their teams. The Englishmen, interestingly, they pulled out of the IPL to ensure that their team was gelling and they're working together as a team. And this is very, very critical. West Indies, up to the end, quite a number of our players, Russell, Rutherford, and Narayan. Somewhere the other boy, I would have to see how I could involve Narayan in that competition. Narayan was so outstanding in this last IPL. But we had players all towards the end, still participating in the IPL, when we had other players working and preparing for the game. What's your opinion on that, Lobi?
You're muted, Lobi.
Sorry, that with Narayan problem is his action. That's his fear he has. All right, that is the fear he has. I won't even bring him up, his name in the equation. I know that. That is the fear Narayan has to represent West Indies. He knows that. That's the fear he has.
We take that consideration. But when you look at the IPL as an opener, the guy
an opener, I don't think. Yes, but I don't think he would have to be with the team. He would have to be with the team the same way we took the team. We sent them to Nepal, and some guys embraced the opportunity and they performed, like Johnson Charles. All right,
and Chase.
Afanas was there. He didn't. Afanas was there.
Opportunities, golden opportunity.
Yeah, so they give us a chance. Let's say 3 of us there. They give us 3 of us. I seized the opportunity to perform. So that's what Afanas has to do. So what he has to perform. But again, you see the problem. You're talking about Narayan again. Narayan to me is still fraying. Narayan is still fraying. I am clear about that.
So if you think that's the reason why he did not come
but
in,
of course, Narayan, I'm telling you,
scrutiny.
look, there's a lot of hypocrisy in the world of cricket. See what they did Shillingford. Everybody said, oh, Shillingford free, Shillingford action, his action. All right? But we know, look at Narayan. Narayan hasn't changed. Even though his action, he hiding the ball behind his back. He hiding. But he's still fraying.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But I like the West Indies team.
Definitely.
I like the form that Royston Chase. Royston Chase was, to me, is a big surprise because I never really thought of him as a T20 player. But after watching him bat the way he batted in that series, the recent series against South Africa, I think he's earned his place. And he will be a critical part of the West Indies team, and it's really good to see the way he just kind of showed up and the way, that last innings that he played in the first game. If you see how, West Indies were in a spot of border, he came in, he took his time, and then he just exploded at the back end and scored, I think, 68 or something. So, it's really good to see that the batsmen are getting runs. And even in this game, Pooran, I like the fact that Pooran brought over that form with him from the IPL because we need him if West Indies are going to make a stab at getting this trophy. And he's already at 66 and going great guns of 20 balls. So, he's really batting. I think West Indies at that rate, if they continue, they should be able to score 250 plus.
Yeah, tonight. 260, of course. But again, Fountain and Lander. As always, my concern, our bowling, we have to bowl properly. We have to. We have been scoring big runs. We have been scoring a lot of, heavy runs, and then we end up still losing. All right? We have to be consistent. Especially Alzari, he has to be consistent, and then he's very wayward.
Yes, that's a vital point. But right now, we are ranked ICC T20 ranking. We are ranked at number 4, which is very high.
We have
India is number 1. Australia is number 2. England, the defending champion from 2022, is number 3. And we're at number 4. Now we're in Group C. In Group C, with New Zealand, Afghanistan, Uganda, and Papua New Guinea. I hope that we can be consistent enough in our batting and bowling that we'd find no difficulty playing New Zealand and Afghanistan. Afghanistan can be a very troublesome team.
Yes, especially with those spinners. You have Rashid Khan, really one of the best on the T20 circuit. And he's always going to be, put the West Indian batters under some type of pressure. And, but I think the problem with Afghanistan is that they have a relatively good bowling outfit, but they have been struggling lately.
The batting.
Yeah. So Afghanistan, I don't think they're much of a threat now, given the current makeup of the team. They have a couple of individual good players. Their opening bats is also extremely good. But in terms of the overall balance of the team, my biggest fear in that group run is New Zealand.
New Zealand, but two teams qualify from each of the groups.
Yes, 2 teams qualify. Yeah. So I would expect West Indies to go through most likely with New Zealand in that group. In Group C. But as you said, Afghanistan can throw in a spanner in the works. But the way West Indies have been batting and playing, I expect that they will go through relatively easily. And in fact, I would go as far as saying I expect West Indies to be either, in my view, in terms of the way this World Cup is structured, and having looked at those batsmen and those players, I think I'm going to make a prediction that it's either West Indies or South Africa going to win this World Cup.
Well, it's
India, Australia, England. You don't think that?
The reason why I'm not expecting India to win is because I believe that the bowlers and the bowlers in particular the bowlers for India have been exposed. They did not. Some of the top bowlers, Bumrah, even the spinner, their top spinner, they did not do very well, in the IPL. Because the problem with the IPL is that the batsmen are coming from day one. They're going to hit out. And no matter how well you bowl, the batsmen are going to come down and try to, bludgeon the bowling. So in that sense, and if you see what happened, some of the top batsmen for India did not really fire. Kohli was the one that was the outstanding Indian batsman. So if the Indian Premier League is anything to go at, I do not think India is going to do as well as we would have expected them to do. I still think that India, South Africa will do better than them, and of course West Indies. And to me, it's going to be a final between those 2 teams.
Well, I think that Fountain landed that. With India, they have the material. All right, I will never underestimate them. They have the material. Based on what I'm looking at the West Indies team, all right, as my concern, we can score 300 runs. We have the batsmen to score that. But is containing our bowling, we have to bowl properly. We have to. All right, for us to win that, we will score runs. We will score big. But we have to bowl properly.
Fontaine made mention of South Africa coming onto the finals, but we know South Africa has a history of inconsistency. Australia has a history of consistency
in big events. Australia. Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
you're right.
In those events there. I won't bet so much on South Africa. I would look more at Australia and possibly the defending champions, England. But let's hope that we can have some consistency, as Lobby is saying, in our bowling. So we can have a good chance to move forward all the stages and possibly get to the finals. This will be very good for the West Indies. If in the home series, we can reach the finals and win the 3rd T20 World Cup. That means that Sammy would have won all T20 World Cups.
Yeah.
Two as a player and one as a coach.
Yes, certainly. I mean, you cannot rule out West Indies, given the form, the fact that Powell,
we have, yeah.
Powell is in form, Russell is in form, Puran is in form, King is in form, Johnson Charles is in form. My only concern now, to be quite honest, is Akil Hussain. Looking at him bowl this last few games, he seemed to have lost some of his zip. And in fact, I think if there is a choice for one spinner, they may choose to go with Moti, because Moti has been bowling exceptionally well.
Well, yes.
Compare him to what Akil has been doing of late. But in terms of the batting lineup, man, West Indies are really, you get rid of Puran, then in steps, Chase, and instead, they're gonna have problems with West Indies batting. The bowling is still an issue, I'm sure. Yeah.
One thing, and I want us to bat sensibly. No matter what we go in, we may lose 2 free quick wickets. We can still steady the ship because we have the material. That's all we have to do. Use our head. Play smart.
As we continue, Lobby, discussing the T20, we're going to take a break now to give our sponsors some publicity, our very good sponsors.
Yeah, of course.
What you do? Shop at SCS. Better than the rest. Go shop at SCS. And they all compare. Shop at SCS. You get more for what they say. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Yeah. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. What they say. Shop at SCS. SCS family. Customer friendly. With 3 locations. It's so convenient. And our prices, they are the nicest. Madam, I miss you. That's where you belong. Oh, tell your mama, tell your papa. Shop at SCS. Tell your son and your daughter. Shop at SCS. Auntie, nene, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, open neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side. What? Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Check us out at Pottersville, High Street, and downtown Rose.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
It's on its way. The United Workers' Party, Team Dominica, the Electoral Reform Coalition, is launching the first Dominica Economic Revival Summit 2024 under the theme Planning for Sustainable Growth and Development, taking place June 4th to the 6th at the Jungle Bay Resort and Spa. Soufriere is on its way.
Present will be key stakeholders, government officials, business leaders, and experts in various fields in Dominica to engage in creating a master plan to serve as a roadmap to Dominica's future development. Healthy talk, lively debate in agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, agribusiness, renewable energy, construction, and the blue and green economy. It's on its way June 4th to the 6th. You don't want to miss the first Dominica Economic Revival Summit, which will begin on June 4th, the 4th until the 6th, where 9 outstanding Dominicans will be honored and awarded at the grand opening dinner and award ceremony on Tuesday, 4th June. $250. This will be followed by Dominica Economic Revival Summit on Wednesday and Thursday, 5th and 6th, from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Secure dinner tickets in person with Mr. Nicholas George at 285-5585. Seats at this economic revival will be limited, so don't delay. Now it's time to restart, kickstart, and jumpstart Dominica's economy. Restore and rescue Dominica's economy. Dominica, get ready for the Summit of Summits, taking place in Dominica at the Jungle Bay Resort and Spa. Get ready for some big surprises.
We have secured as the keynote speaker for the opening ceremony, Mr. Darwin Telemark, who is the head of the Port Authority in Antigua and Barbuda. And he will also be part of the conference dealing with the issue, the all-important issue of transportation and logistics, and how, as a country, as we begin to produce, as we begin to export, or we can tackle the issue of transportation.
Seats are limited, so register now. Register today with Mr. Nicholas George at telephone number 285-5585. That's 285-5585.
A very interesting thing has happened with that T20 World Cup, in that certain jurisdictions have taken that World Cup so seriously and have made significant investments in the facilities in their country to optimize the return on those investments via sports tourism.
Yep.
I saw Kensington Oval. And when I went Thompson myself went to school in Barbados, and what I'm seeing now is totally different. And Mia Motley is boasting that she's going to be doing a tour and inviting people to come to do a tour of Kensington Oval. And it's really fabulous. There's a jurisdiction that I understood that a bank in Dominica financed the development of that facility.
Yes, that is correct. In fact, the National Bank of Dominica, we are told that the loan was given, $80 million loan. They don't give the full $80 million, but they were warned the bank is part of the financing package to the St. Lucia government, that they've taken $80 million to build their facilities and to set themselves up for the World Cup, because they're prepared to invest $80 million because they understand they invest $80 million, they will make 4, 5, 10 times that amount. And already I saw in the news, even Antigua is boasting already that they're seeing a pickup in visitor arrivals and in interest in Antigua, and they're bracing themselves for real great impact. Yeah.
And the other aspect of it is not only people arriving, but in terms of promotion, you're going to be promoted all around the sporting world.
Yes.
People are going to know about you. We've got a caller.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, gentlemen, again, thanks for the program. But, with regards to the T20 World Cup, it's rather unfortunate, it's rather sad that Dominica got an opportunity where they could have exposed themselves to the world. Lots of people would have visited Dominica. But, when you have people with no innovative ideas, not to disrespect the Minister of Sports, but, I'm not too sure if she have ever played sports in her life, although you don't have to play sports to be a sports minister, but you have to have a liking for sports, etc., So, we have, Dominica is at a crossroad in all aspects. I cannot believe Dominica the government of Dominica chose to at least stay away from an event like that. Come on. And you see where you have this Afronas guy. They have him as a sports ambassador. What they have him as an ambassador?
Yeah, sports ambassador. Yeah.
Are we serious? You think these people already know what? Hey, gentlemen, good night. Good night. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I can see the frustration there. Yeah,
that's very critical, and it comes back to the management. The main reason why we were not able to participate in the T20 World Cup is because of the lighting at the sports stadium. That one of the main reasons. And somebody was engaged to put on lights in the Windsor Park. But I'm not too sure that the powers that be did the due diligence to ensure that the person had the capacity to deliver. So somewhere midway of the project, it just came to a halt. And consequently, we were unable to host such a major activity in the Caribbean. So unfortunate. But what I would like to see happening as we come to the close of the program, I would like to see, because we highlight certain sporting activities in Dominica, some high-quality sporting activities in Dominica. And there's some good sporting activities taking place in Dominica at this point in time. What I'd like to see happen is the sports division developing a strategic sports development plan for Dominica. and to share it with all, bring in the various associations, the various organizations, the DOC, bring the better minds together and formulate that strategic sports development plan for Dominica. So we know what we intend to do when we're going to do it. We know where we want to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, and how we're going to get there. And I think this is very, very critical for sports development now in Dominica.
Yes, indeed. And I think that's a very good suggestion, Ron. Sports is the way, man. Sports is what the youth. That's a great way for young people to get involved in and to set themselves up for the future. And I think any responsible government should be spending a lot on sports, on the facilities and on making it possible. And sports tourism is a big thing now. It's bringing in tens of millions of dollars into Barbados, into Antigua, into St. Lucia. So we should be fighting for our share as well. We've gone on we have a few hotels now in Dominica. So we certainly can make a very strong appeal for that type of investment, in it. And I hope we do not miss any more chances like this one. The cricketing world has a great love for the Dominican public because we've shown this sheer joy, at watching the game. When people were not watching cricket, Dominicans were out there watching, and we have been rewarded for that by being offered games. But as you would note, we are not receiving any games for West Indies for the rest of the year. And we still have 7 months to go, So I'm hopeful that at least next year we'll get our act together, get the lights back up in the stadium, and really be prepared for some big games next year.
Lubin, concluding, can you?
Yes, well, in the US, I'm in the US there, Fountain and London, that they are preparing for the T20 World Cup and also for the Copa America next month. That is big football. Here in America, that when they plan, when they organize very, very big. And I can tell you that the hosting for the T20, the venues are looking very good.
Thompson,
yes. By way of closing remarks, is to wish the Dominica football team well as they look forward to playing Guatemala next Wednesday, and of course the following Sunday,
Jamaica.
The big game here in Dominica against Jamaica. And just for our many fans, to let you know, if you're not aware, West Indies are going great guns, as we say, 148 for 2. A strike rate so far, a run rate of 13, or just over 13 runs per over, 148 for 2. Nicholas Puran out for 75 with a strike rate of 300. Johnson Charles not out on 37. Rovman Powell came to the party. He's now 19 of 11 balls, and Shoaib, of course, got 14. So West Indies look poised to at least set Australia 260 plus, upwards of 260, I would think, for this game.
Yeah, 260.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's go out and continue supporting sports, local sports, and more importantly, when Dominica plays against Jamaica, let's full up the stadium.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
When you want the best, what you do? Shop at SCS. Better than the rest. Go shop at SCS. And they all confess. Shop at SCS. You get more for what they say. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Yeah. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. What they say. Shop at SCS. SCS family, customer friendly. With free locations, it's so convenient. And our prices, they are the nicest. Madam and history, that's where you belong. So tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SCS. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SCS. Auntie, nan, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, open neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side. What? Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Shop at SCS. Check us out at Portersville, High Street, and downtown Roosevelt.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph